I ordered my first Cardania coffee mug, but the way it printed is all goofy, so I didn't want to show it. I was like, oh,
Oh, really?
it's all like off centered and stuff. Yeah, I had to redo it.
Hey,
It's all
there
right.
we
Well,
go.
see, but I think like people want to see like the working merch. You know what I'm saying? So that they can buy in, right? So the coolest thing we
That's
ever did
true.
was we made sweatshirts, and once people saw sweatshirts, they went crazy. Because then
Well,
it
if
was
you
like, oh
guys here,
crap.
I'll toss it in the chat here. This is pretty new. So when we stream on Twitch, I stream through Stream Elements, and
Yeah.
that little link, and I just dropped in the chat here. There has a bunch of merch, just like this is like very super basic stuff, but
Okay.
it's good. It's good stuff. And, relatively affordable and all that. So
All right, so we are live now, actually. So we just gotta
all
wait for
right.
some people to come on in.
We got it. Technology. We got it.
Oh, do you guys have the link? I can drop it in the I can drop it in the Discord on the Twitter and stuff.
Yeah, let me get that real quick.
Yep.
Go
Yes, I'll
here.
copy it to Twitter.
I joined at the you part.
Oh, really? Nice.
All right, there you go. I sent it to your Discord.
Awesome. Okay.
And then we use
I'll
this.
drop it in the announcements.
Appreciate it. Get some folks in here. View log. Cool.
You guys have a Twitter handle I can tag?
Yeah, I'm at Atlanick.
And I am just Lucky Lizard Club.
There you go.
Nice. Thank you.
Appreciate it. There we go. Bring this to the side. Should bring it.
Cool. Social medias.
All right.
Is the video all right, or is it all choppy?
I think it's good. Is it coming through choppy for you on your end?
Yeah, but I don't know if that's accurate. It's all good.
Let me go to live. I think it's coming through good on my end.
Okay, sweet.
Somebody will comment if it's not.
Sure.
They will let you know.
That's right. There's the benefit of having a very responsive community is that any little thing that's messed up, they're on
Yeah.
it.
Yep.
What are you guys feeding from that cricket wireless hotspot? What's going on? Yeah, dude.
On that Walmart internet, man. Yo, what's up, Tall? Tall Crypto in the house.
Okay.
Oh yeah, is there a way to view the chat, or is that just on your? I think on your end.
It is on my end. I can maybe send you. You're probably gonna have to view on the chat, but you can pause the video and the comment should still come through. That way, it doesn't like ruin your internet.
Makes sense.
Okay.
Let me just find my Twitter real quick and retweet.
Okay.
Sweet. How many people we got in here at the moment? 9 people watching. Nice. Awesome.
Okay.
There we go.
Yeah, so we can get ready and kind of start some things if you're ready, or you want to wait for some people to join in. What do you want to do?
Whatever you guys want to do. I'm just here to hang out with you guys today, answer any questions you guys have, and just just chit chat, man. So whatever.
Sweet.
Okay.
So I am Atlanick, and I am with Lucky Lizard Club's iKleanup, and we are
Yep.
also here with Chris from Cardania. So if you want to do a quick little intro of who you are, how you got into the position that you're kind of in now, and yeah, let's see what you got to say.
Sure. So my name's Chris. I'm the founder of Cardania. You can find us at cardania.com, twitter.com/Cardania_21. And then there's a bunch of all the social media links and all that stuff. But so we're an NFT gaming metaverse project. I call us more of like a gaming ecosystem project. The overall goal of which is basically to utilize Cardano NFTs and tokens in sort of a cohesive, like multi-game experience way. And we're sort of well on our way to that. We've been building for about a year now. We started with it was really just me being excited about being able to make digital art and sell it, because I've done digital art for quite some time. And it's very difficult to monetize, at least pre-NFT days it was. And, I wound up using most of that kind of talent skill stack, like in the corporate world. And that was kind of how you monetize it. But now, the whole universe opened up. I've been a big Cardano fan for a long time, just architecturally speaking. Invested in that relatively early on, and decided to jump in and make the Summon stake pool last year, SUMN. And then from there, have just been building what is rapidly becoming a very sort of a large project now. And we've got a whole bunch more team members now. We've got, a half a dozen devs. We've got about a dozen artists. And mostly what I do now is like managerial stuff. I'm basically just, trying to make it all happen and coordinate between the different aspects of the project. And so, we've had some successful mints already between our founders cards, 5 of our 7 unopened packs, and our Terraforms. All those have sold out, and then we issued the RAD token, at least a limited release on it earlier this year, or last year, I guess. When was that? In January? I don't know. Time is like meaningless anymore in NFT world. Anyway, that was recent, and next on deck we've got avatars. We've got well, there's some other stuff I haven't announced yet, but avatars are next on deck. We've got an album being produced. Working on a bunch of game stuff, both the land side, the card side, and on the first person sort of like 3D side. So I think that's it.
Okay. So I was wondering about this because you do have a lot of NFTs. So I was wondering if somebody didn't have any of your NFTs, what do you think would be like the NFT that you think they should get to get started?
Well, I think probably like the most interesting one is probably a Terraform at this point, because that is it's the one that is a yield producing asset right now. We went through great development pains to the Living Lands functionality, which was released just 2 weeks ago. And if you have a Terraform, basically embedded in that NFT is a power level in the metadata. And then that power level ties into a formula which ties together the stake pool's performance, delegation, and block production, and kind of ties it in so that every epoch you can now harvest RAD tokens based on sort of how the pool does and then how much power level you have. So I think if people are new to Cardano NFTs, the Terraforms are probably super interesting and a good way to just see kind of how it can all work. And then I also recommend our founders cards, just because I like to layer value on those, because that was like our OG, our OG tokens. So don't be surprised if you see some updates there in the near future. But I try very hard not to overpromise and underdeliver, because well, for a lot of reasons. But so I usually just announce stuff when it's like about ready to go, about ready to drop. So
Okay.
um, yeah.
You got any questions, Brandon? I know you do.
Sorry, I was just trying to keep myself muted.
Oh,
But
you're
yeah, I
good.
mean, dude, well, we're talking about terraforms, like that can bring up millions of different questions, right? So you can see it on the screensaver in his background or whatever the wallpaper. It's basically the terraform. So I've been an OG founder card holder, and so I've always kind of wondered. So I bought packs. I want to play a
Mhm.
card game. Nick, you're a
Mhm.
founder holder, right?
Yes, sir.
And you're kind of interested. I know that the packs are sold out, right? There's
Mhm.
what is it, 5 out of 7, right? Is that correct? Are sold out,
Yeah,
or is it
there's
all?
5 out of 7 are sold out, and then the sixth is Astro Alliance. That's on chain, but we've only been giving just a little bit away in like marble races every
Right.
Friday night, but they're not for sale yet. And then
Okay,
the seventh
gotcha.
has yet to be minted.
And so I've been holding on to these packs, right? And I've been waiting and I've been wondering. I know you have, what is it? You said you had like what, 8 artists on
There's
card
8 card artists.
art
Yeah.
alones, right? So when you think about it, like, okay, so they're producing, we're doing it. I want to see them, right? I feel like people
I
are
know.
hungry to play, like, because we all have some sort of gaming background. I think in crypto, most of us. I know that you do. Um, but like, when do you think there is a possibility of some sort of, I don't know, reveal or something like that?
You're gonna hate this answer, but it's the answer I give all the time. It's when it's done. When it's done,
Gotcha.
I'll release it.
I
Um,
gotcha.
I don't have a date on it. I can tell you that the card art policy closes May 1st, so I'm trying to
That
get
is
as
correct.
much card art done before then. May 1st was sort of the like it was just sort of an arbitrary deadline I put on myself when I started it. I was like,
Right.
that'll give me a year. Basically, give us a year to get card art done. Um,
Yeah.
and surprisingly, difficult for sure to get. First of all, you got to get good artists. They have to have a good
Right.
direction. They have to be reliable, um, and then they have to produce. They have to produce at a steady clip. Um, and it took probably till I would say like November was when it really started coming off at a good pace. We had one more prolific artist earlier than that. I was doing a lot of like generative type stuff, which
Okay.
that was more prolific, but it wasn't quite as directed. Um, so that'll be kind of interesting too, because there's just a lot of different styles, um,
Okay.
all within the same all within the same thing. But yeah, when it's done, it'll be done. While we've been making art, though, that's not the only thing we've been doing. Our our lead on the card game, Rogue Rashk and Wizard of Raz, have been actually building in the back end, sort of like the actual playable functionality, and like trying to figure out how we want it to look and function and all that. And it looks really good, and it's very in depth, and I think it's going to be an enjoyable game that isn't quite. It's not quite like the other stuff that's on the market at the moment. Like it'll be familiar for like Hearthstone players and Magic the Gathering players, but
Okay.
it's not a clone. So
Okay.
yeah, yeah,
Are are quantum cards still a thing? Are they still on the table?
yeah. So that's basically in the rad paper. I think I'd put in there both quantum cards and there was another item in there. Basically, just the idea of having cards that you could, let's say you have card A and card B, and then forge that into card C. And that's sort of like I just called them quantum cards. I don't know, but yeah,
Right.
that's in the it's in the cards for the
Okay.
future for sure. Uh,
Okay.
but my that was another reason why like the way I built the the rad papers what do you call it, the roadmap was much. I tried to keep it vague and branchy because like some some stuff happens faster than you think it will, and then some stuff you think it's going to go fast and then it doesn't. So
Hmm.
I try not to apply too many dates, and I know that is a big pain in the ass for a bunch of our investors and our holders and stuff, because you're basically just trusting that we're doing stuff, and that I'm not just
Right.
sipping mai tais on my yacht or whatever.
Right.
But at the end of the day, I actually think it's better on the creative side because well, for a couple of reasons. On the creative side, it gives us room to breathe and room to create, and then on the holder side too, it ends up actually rewarding particular behaviors, which I'd way rather reward, which is like basically patience, faith, and like a relaxed mindset. Because the last thing I want is a Discord full of like really anxious trader types. As much as I love them, I trade, I trade stuff too. I like, but oh boy, difficult to build a long-term community around a creative endeavor with that mindset. So yeah, we're just gonna keep doing it that way. And I hope we deliver on what we've promised in a timely manner. Um, but mostly, I hope that it's just quality. I hope it's fun. I hope it's something that like, the Cardano community can point to and say, look at this. This is cool. This is fun. It integrates a lot of the technology in an interesting way. And I kind of consider that mission success. So.
And
Gotcha.
I think it's a good thing, like what you're doing, okay, and taking your time. Like myself as a Cardano holder, right? I'm used to projects taking their time, doing things the right way. And from what it seems like, that's what you're doing. If I do say so, like myself, like you're not coming out with things before it's not half baked ideas, right? And so I feel like keep on, this is a marathon, not a sprint. You know what I mean? And like you've said before, it's you know what you're hoping is that within the next 3 to 5 years, it's like the most played card game, or it's people are traveling in the metaverse playing your game or whatever it may be.
Mhm.
I think that's the most important thing, is to realize not we don't have to have everything right now. That good things do take time, and they're just going to take time to develop those sort of things.
Yeah, that's kind of the Cardano way in general, just take your time, make everything perfect, and slowly build over time. And Cardano's doing pretty well long term, so yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know. The other thing with like these projects is that it's important to recognize that like iteration is a thing, because like when I first started, if you look at like where we were a year ago and what we were aiming to do, it was much more small scale, certainly much more achievable, but also like it didn't it didn't really integrate a lot of the technology. It wasn't terribly interesting at the time. For me, I try to just I try to at like what I think is interesting and what I think is like a good use of the tech, and specifically like we're dealing with gaming, so what the sort of moment in time that's happening around us right now is that NFTs, tokens, and like games are something that if we integrate it right, it's going to change how games are made. It's going to change how games are played, and it's going to change how people think about games, because it's different. It's different than it has been, because we just didn't have those tools before. So that's really my focus, and everything else I try to sublimate to that. That's the right word, sublimate. Yeah.
I don't know. It sounds good though.
Yeah.
So I was curious about, because there's the lands, and then you say there's going to be the avatars, and then I know there's the cards. So I know there's going to be a card
Yes.
game, and that's what I'm the most hyped for. I love card games, Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon card collector, all that stuff, and I loved Hearthstone. So I'm super excited about that. But when I heard that there was like the avatars and now the lands, I'm like, okay, so there's going to be another gaming aspect to it other than just the card game. You want to tell us a little bit about how that's going to be, or?
Yeah, and the avatars are also useful in the card game. I should clarify that as well. So my goal with the card game specifically, is I'm aiming to provide utility. Sorry, I just burped in front of everyone. That's terrible. I'm aiming to provide utility for like multiple PF or profile picture projects. So not just our own. You'll probably, you're going to get some benefits for using ours, but even if you have like a Coco Loco or you have a, or whatever projects we want in the ecosystem, um, I'm aiming to provide some utility for that, so that you'll be able to, like, that'll be like, your player character or whatever within the card game itself. Uh, so that's sort of the interesting thing here, right? Is that, like, I want you to be able to take your 3D avatar in the shooter, go shoot a bad guy, collect some tokens, come back to the card game, maybe play around, um, maybe go to your land, collect your resources. Maybe you collect enough rad, collect enough resources that you can mint a new card that you can take back to your card game. Um, and so that's sort of like the integrated sort of experience that I'm going for. And I know I'm not the only one who's figured this out. I know there's other people working on it too. Um, but that's sort of where my goal is. And when I think I'll consider this all mission accomplished when we have multiple games sort of spinning these resources between themselves, and people sort of integrating where they want to in whatever gaming experience they want, and sort of relatively seamless.
So will the materials that you collect that you'll be able to trade in for the cards, will you be able to also trade the cards back for the materials and use the materials in a different way, perhaps?
Yeah, it's a good idea. I think probably. I think certainly there should be like some sort of a salvage mechanism. Maybe you don't get it all back or something.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, and all that stuff is just those are like important. They're details, but they're important details. We spend a lot of time thinking about like sinks and faucets in terms of like, okay, so rad's going out in these different ways, and the resources too. The resources going out in these different ways, and then what ways can those things come back to us, whether that's via purchase or whatever. And then sort of a lot of the unknown though is how the player marketplace is going to be, because we're giving, what's different about this is that the players, like, the resources and the rads are on chain, so people are going to be able to trade them back and forth without our say so at all. So that's going to be interesting, and I don't know, there's going to be times, I think, when some of it doesn't make any sense. I was be like, well, wait, this one rare resource is now worth a ton of money, but only, I don't know, maybe a small percent of people have it, and then, but that's how the market should hopefully correct itself. But that's sort of the weird. There's a lot of unknowns with what we're doing, that I can talk good about it, and I can pretend that we know how it's going to go, but I have no idea. Like, I have no idea how it's going to look. That's kind of the fun part of it, though, too. So.
Yeah. I know you look like you got something to say.
I always have something to say. So what? So are the terraforms? Would you say that's probably your main focus for right now and trying to get everything, or is that kind of like set in place so now you can kind of move on to the next thing? Because it seems like okay.
Yeah.
Go
Well,
ahead.
there's multiple efforts sort of happening at the same time. I think the card thing. I mean, like I said, we have 8 artists. We have 8 artists building that right now. Um, the main effort for the devs right now is more on the Terraform side, mostly because I want to get the resources on chain, and I want to get people, like, the Terraform's already out there, so I'd like people to be able to start collecting all that, and then figuring out on that side, all right, how are we going to look at, like, building things, and maybe whether it's building units or building buildings, and then what the 3D terraforms look like with that. Um, so yeah, I mean, in terms of a main effort, I think it's hard. I guess it's hard to say, because we have so many different devs working on different aspects of it. I think the terraforms are seeing the most obvious growth and maybe most interest at the moment. That's probably accurate to say. Just because Living Lands is, like, it's really cool, and I don't know what other projects have done something quite like that. So I think that's probably going to continue to be, like, the lion's share of the attention for a while. Um, but that doesn't mean other stuff's not happening. So there's also a bunch of 3D work that's happening that, like, I haven't showed. Um, So yeah, I don't know.
We
Does that
saw we
help?
saw we saw a preview of it. But okay, so let's
Yeah.
say I wanted to elevator pitch you. Like let's say I wanted a lizard in there, right? Which would I model would I do a 3D model in like let's say Unreal, right? Which is what you're using.
Mhm.
Is that correct? So I would model
Yeah.
something in Unreal and then just say, "Hey, you'll have an idea. I would like this to be an avatar." What is one thing like you would expect maybe from another project to help provide for your ecosystem? I guess you would say,
Yeah. Well,
or
I don't
help.
want them. I don't want them to do that right now. Uh,
Okay,
like we're just not there yet. But when we do, basically, what we need to, we'll wind up having just a standard that we publish. Like, okay, hey, if you want to get this, you want to get these avatars in, this is what the standard is. You can submit it here, and then we'll either, you know, yay it or nay it,
okay,
and get it in. But yeah, it's too crazy. Like we get offers a lot, like all the time, from people that want to like, hey, we'd like to, build on your stuff or integrate in this way, and I'm just not there yet. And I'm also not prioritizing. I think maybe this is what's a little bit different about Cardania. Is that like I'm definitely not prioritizing a lot of the like um, crowdsource creativity yet,
okay,
which I still think is very important. And no disrespect to it, I guess I'm just trying to build some cohesion first. I need like a sort of baseline economic foundation, um, you know, sort of character and lore cohesion, and then invite more people to the party. I think
gotcha.
is the way it makes sense for me anyway. And that doesn't mean there's a lot of other projects doing it a lot of different ways. So you just have to kind of decide as an investor, as a a gamer and that kind of thing, what you're looking for. So
Yeah.
So with your rad tokens, I was wondering, do you have any plans to throw it onto like MinSwap or something like that, so people could farm or stake or anything?
yeah, so I get asked about liquidity pools all the time, and I get asked about staking all the time.
Yeah.
I think yeah, and there's different things. So the staking I'm interested in. We'll probably have some stuff on that in the near future. With staking though, I'm more apt to do stuff in house because we can. Um, so you might see that from us rather than going elsewhere. Um, and then for liquidity pools, I'm kind of interested in it, but frankly, I'm not like an expert on liquidity pools, and I get a little scared of them. I get a little weirded out by it because I don't really understand what's happening there, and I'm not afraid to say it because I don't think a lot of people do. Um, and so I'm just a little bit like I'm a little cautious with it um, for now. I think we'll probably dip our toe into it in the near future. Um, but I think until I'm more comfortable with it, I'm not too worried about it either.
That's fair.
Like if you want to buy and sell rad, Muesli's kind of the place for right now. ADAX has this, but I think we might still be in maintenance with them. They were struggling a little bit with it, and
Okay.
then I did actually see. I think someone had opened a rad pool on. I don't know if it was Sunday or MinSwap, but I know some of our like community does that stuff on their own. So feel free to engage with those. But yeah, from our side, I want to be very cautious with what we do with the token because I know I can I can do some dumb stuff if I'm not careful. So
Fair.
I don't know. Yeah, I hope that helps. And I know there's a lot of folks have been asking about the liquidity pools and stuff too. I'm just very like, let's just chill out a little bit on it because I don't know. I don't know. There it feels to me like it would be very easy to throw up 30, 40,000 ADA of liquidity and then just have it vanish. Like, okay, cool, we got all the rad back, but then why did we do the rad sale? I'm like, all right, like, I don't know. I just don't know if it makes sense yet. But I think as we build more utility and we grow, it'll probably wind up making more sense over time.
Gotcha.
Because you were on a launch pad, right? To initially The initial release, right, of Rad was on a Launchpad. What are what would you say are some great things about that? What were some difficulties you would say?
Yeah, so we used ADAX and Kick launchpads sort of in conjunction. Um,
Right.
they're not. I don't know exactly what their relationship is, but I know they're related somehow. Um, so ADAX and Kick were both. They were actually both really good experiences. They did exactly what they said they were going to do. A lot of it felt like they were still built. They were building stuff, like while we were engaged with this, and it didn't. I think this is similar with like most Cardano projects. Is like I don't think it's all locked tight yet. I think they're all still figuring stuff out. But they did everything they said they were going to do. They promoted us to their. The reason to use a launch pad basically is to get, if they have a pool of investors or people who are interested in your project, then then you in theory raise more ADA or raise more funds or whatever. And that seemed like it worked. Seemed like it worked fine. Um, there was nothing stopping us from just doing it ourselves on the website though. Like we could just launch it. We could do a token sale on there too. We'll probably do that in the future. But I just wanted to see how it goes. That was kind of, sometimes I just do stuff that I'm like, I don't know if it's going to work. I don't know if it's going to be great. See how it goes. And it was good. It raised a lot of funds that we're able to give to our devs and our artists and stuff. Um, so I'd recommend it if you're a new project. Go check out ADAX. Go check out Kick. The terms are fine, and yeah, would do again for sure. I think the one downside, it seemed like there was a lot of FUD surrounding ADAX initially, and so it was weird. It was kind of weird. People were like, "Oh, why are we using these people?" And I was like, I don't seem like a good idea. Let's just try it." Not everybody's really not everybody's willing to risk that. So
Yeah. I think if you're just transparent, I mean, it's like you didn't have any bad intentions. So if anything went wrong, I think you'd still be able to stay face and continue on with your project. But luckily, nothing did.
yeah, yeah, and it was a relatively small quantity of the token. It wasn't like we didn't like give half the token to the launchpad or something, so they run off with it or something like that. Um, so it was just a judgment call, and I do that stuff all the time, and most of the time it works out. So
Yeah, you got to try. Trial and error.
yeah,
So I know you have your the marble races on Friday. Do you want to talk a little bit about the marble races, what you need to participate, and how it all works?
sure. I love the marble races. So we started. For those who haven't done it, our every Friday night at 10 p.m. Pacific is our marble races. All you need is a Twitch account to join. You go to twitch.tv/Cardania_2021. And before a race, you just type exclamation play into the chat, and then you get a little marble with your name on it. And then typically, each race has between 3 and 5 winners, depending on the night. And you just kind of hang out there with the community. We usually have about 200 racers these days every Friday, and it's pretty consistent. So that's awesome. We give out a ton of prizes. All CNFTs, some Cardania stuff, some other stuff. Some projects like to donate. Some new projects like to donate to kind of get their stuff out there. And then our a lot of our just different like partner projects and our homies send stuff in. And then Aeonium Sky does a special marble from his collection every week. There's only, so far, I think we've done 31 marbles total. And so this week will be number 32. Last week we had a sushi marble because the Sushi Bites team joined us to co-host. And then we had a void marble, I think the week before that. And those are kind of like, special, unique ones. But yeah, it's just a good time. It's a good sort of regular community event. I'll also give project updates for that week. Just on like on the front end, I'll do a little monologue that's like, this is what's going on in Cardania. This is what we're working on. This is what you can expect in the next week, that kind of stuff. And then it's mostly just a chill thing though. It's not super formal. I try to keep it more like almost like I don't know, almost like a like a speakeasy little like a bar type vibe. It reminds me of like you go to the bar and you're playing like trivia with your friends. It's kind of like that. Um, and it's not like super shilly. Other projects, I let them chill in the chat and stuff within reason, but it never gets too crazy. So yeah, and the community is great. If you're new to Cardano and you need a place to hang or chat with people, definitely go to the Discord. It's discord.gg/Cardania. Got the little vanity one now, so that's cool.
Nice.
I have been in about 15 to 16 marble races myself.
Yes.
Well,
Oh.
no, nights. That's just nights. That's not including like the 5 or 6 races that I'm in while you're in there, right? There was one race that was like what was it? 20 minutes long almost.
Hmm. Yeah,
Is
we've
that
done a couple
correct?
of those. They're
Yeah.
really fun. It's hard to find those maps. There's not too many of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like
And
the long
so
ones are a lot of fun. Kind of settle into it, and watch it.
I can safely say that I have never won. However, I've fallen off the actual map uh, with
Yeah,
an
it
instance of it launching
it
almost
happens.
every
Yeah,
single
the
time.
yeah. There's a lot of maps where you just get executed, you get launched
Yeah.
off, or you get hit by a death laser or something. It's a lot of fun though, and we're gonna wind up doing like other games like that too. I'm actually very interested in streaming, like basically integrating the RAD token and like what we're doing with Cardania with streaming in general. Um, because I think, and I haven't really fleshed this out yet, but I'm very interested in like rewarding streamers with RAD, right? Maybe like sponsored
Mm.
streaming, that kind of thing. Um, and that doesn't even necessarily have to be like our game stuff. It can be maybe they're playing like what's big this week, Elden Ring or whatever.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, maybe they're playing some of that, and then they have a maybe they fly some Cardania logo or you know just read about our merch and stuff. And I don't know. So I'm interested in streaming the uh, plus the token stuff as sort of a branch of our business model. Um, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure what the returns on that kind of stuff would be. From small streamers. So, but curious about it. Interested. If there's any streamers watching right now that are interested in that as a possibility, feel free to reach out.
It's awesome.
Gotcha. That's cool.
So I'm down to keep asking you a bunch of questions, but I'm also down to like get into some chill vibes. You know what I'm saying? Like we've grilled you for a
Whatever.
while now. You know.
Whatever.
So if you could buy any project right now while the Cardano or while ADA is kind of low, like what would you buy? Like while we're chilling.
While we're chilling, any project. I would say I'm a big fan of. Well, Aeonium Sky is probably the one that I collect the most.
Yeah.
Mostly because just from a purely art perspective, I think he's the best artist on the chain. Um, the detail on his stuff is just really killer. And he's kind of low. He's really low key compared to some of the projects. Like there's not a lot of shilling that goes on, despite how good the art is. So I like Aeonium Sky stuff. I also like Stellarhood a lot.
Yeah.
Egon is a very talented developer, um, and he's going to be. Uh, I think he's just going to be one of those guys that like over time he's just going to keep dropping bombs, and you don't even see it coming because that's just how he operates, man.
Yeah.
So any Stellarhood stuff I would say is very big. Of course, Cardania I think is great, but those two for sure. I also like what Bitfins has been up to. Bitfins is very interesting to me
Yeah.
for a variety of reasons, but yeah, I mean, there's a bunch. There's a whole bunch of them. But I would say, certainly be discerning about what you pick right now. Don't just give your ADA away for nothing. Um, I try not to like when we're making stuff, and I know people's ADA is hard earned, so I try to earn. I try to earn the purchases. That's why we're not selling anything right now. I'm just like, look, I just want to develop stuff for a while because we've
Right.
just been there. There's going to be a million things to buy over the course of the years, but it's better for everybody if we focus on development in the meantime. Um, but yeah, and then I don't know on Ethereum. I don't even pay attention to a lot of the stuff that's happening anymore. I feel actually out of the loop because I'm so face down in what we're doing. So I don't
Right.
actually know a bunch of like if there's other like new big promising projects. You guys probably know better than I do. Um, I think ADA handles is going to be big. I think if
Oh
you got
yeah.
some good ADA handles, man, that's pretty smart. Though I spent a pretty penny on that other one. ADA domains. Is that still a thing? Are they still happening?
I
I didn't
I
even know about
don't
them.
know. It's not
Yeah,
popping
it was.
off like handles. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Uh, yeah. Oh well, that's the way it goes.
Yeah, I actually had a hard time with the ADA handles, their site or whatever. I couldn't get in and mint $ Atlanick. Luckily, I had a cool mod who minted it for me and just donated it. But shout outs to Lord Vader. But
Yeah.
Nice.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it was kind of a sloppy mint, I'd say. But who didn't have a sloppy mint lately?
Yeah, they
Yeah.
happen. Yeah, ours. I've been super pleased with NFT Maker Pro's back end for our mints. I've been quite happy with those. And I know they're working on new functionality as well. That would be a project. Did they? I think they released a token, didn't they? NMaker.
Did
I don't
they?
know.
I
I'm not
believe
sure.
they are, or they're going to.
Okay.
They
Is my
might be
understanding.
coming. Yeah, and
Yeah.
Patrick is another just amazing developer. Anything NFT Maker does, I'd keep an eye on for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Does very quality mints.
Yeah.
What
I
about
would
you,
What do
say
you
Bryn?
think?
what, me?
Yeah. What have you been looking at while we're in this dip? You been buying anything?
Uh, I bought just a couple space buds, and then
Mm,
I'm kind of waiting to see what happens there, and then I bought like one more chilled Kong just for fun. I kind of stick to PFP, for right now,
mm.
and then I loaded up on, and not this isn't just specifically for you. I'm not kissing your ass, but because you're on this podcast, but I did buy terraforms, and I'm getting more selective with what I have now, and
Nice.
so I'm generally just doing primary minerals of like copper or
Hmm.
radium or something like that, and it's got to be a level 6 or above, just making sure it's
Nice.
at least
Yeah.
that, and then going from there. And so, yeah, I mean that's pretty much what I'm focused on. Just doing that, and then just trying to cook something in the kitchen for myself, and then that's pretty much it, for
Cool.
lack of better terms. Like that's all I'm doing. So
Nice.
I don't know. I think what did I mint this week, dude? It's so bad. Like I can't even remember what I minted.
I remember.
Was it a lot or a
But
little?
I know it was just a little, just a little. Um, I'm trying to think. Hold on. Let me bring this up. Let me bring this up because I
Oh,
got airdrop
there
stuff
was
too.
Outer Space Society.
Right, Outer Space Society. I did their Space Turian card.
Yeah. Space Turian,
Yeah,
I'm assuming.
Space Turian. Yeah. Sorry, I'm so stupid right now. I did retro heads as well. I minted
Okay.
three. Uh, Overall, I was pretty pleased. I like kind of like the art style of it, and then I got a bizarre bud, obviously because well, space buds, you know, bizarre world. So yeah.
Yeah.
Other than that, like
That's
bizarre
cool.
stars,
Yeah, Space
they
Buds was
did some
our
cool stuff.
that's like our progenitor project. That
Yeah,
they basically funded us because I wound up I got a bunch at Mint and then sold. I had an elephant at Mint, so I sold that for a pretty penny, and then a bunch of that went into Cardania.
yeah.
That's what's up.
You sell an elephant now, it'll pay off your house essentially.
Yeah,
Elephants
it's like
are
60
insane.
G's or something.
Yeah,
60?
something close
I
to
think
that.
so.
Yeah, at least even in a bear market, dude.
I've still got a couple. I've got a nice arcane that I've held on to, and I've got a nice frog that I've held on to.
Okay,
Yeah,
nice. I mean, that's the thing. At least you have, at least two. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, because I
I
was
think
thinking
my
I can't
arcane
just.
might be a yeah, my arcane might be a good one. It's got the wine and the umbrella, and it's got the fancy space background.
Oh wow.
It's like
Okay.
I think it's like I think it's like a really good one. I get messages every week about it. Like someone wants to buy it for like super cheap because they think I'm not paying attention.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah. 7997 I think is the number on it. Yeah.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, I was and then I did the Benjamin group, right? I finally got
You
rid of my
cracked it?
egg and I cracked it. Yeah. I was gonna hold on and then I was like, you know what? See what happens. I got a black on black straight Merkin. Um, man, I don't even know what do you. It's like an animal, but it's like
Yeah, it's like his creation. It's not even an animal. Like you couldn't even call it that. Maybe it's more like a
but it has
Pokemon.
a name. But it has a name, right? Like I have an iris, you
Are
know.
there
It's like
multiple different like dudes? Because they all kind of have that round body and the four legs. They just have different face
right,
plates and tails.
yeah. And mine doesn't even have a tail. Ha! It's just got painted toenails.
Do you own
The
any
fans are
Benjamin's
good.
group, Chris?
No, I don't. I think that's one of those that popped off while I've just been face down in the dirt.
Right.
There's been like the last several months. I don't think I haven't minted anything since. No, that's not true. I did get some of our live. I got some of the what's it called? Local home. I got some local home NFTs because the
Okay.
devs, Relic and Simo, actually they're part of our dev team, and they've been working on that for a long time. So I went and got a few of those.
Nice.
Um,
Okay.
they're just very like simple like suburban sort of 3D houses that you could put on like whatever sort of like a 3D metaverse plot somewhere.
All right.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, and then I think the only other one before that, I'll get like for people I know, I'll mint their stuff, pretty regularly, and then the Aeonium Sky AMVs when those dropped, I think that was like December or something. It was a while ago.
That was a long time ago. It was
Yeah,
before terraforms. I will say that.
Yeah, in crypto
I
space, that's
Terraforms
years ago.
I know, right?
Terraforms dropped
I know
what?
it's so
December
strange.
29th?
I'm sorry, what'd you say?
Terraform, yeah, we dropped Terraforms. I think it was like the week before Christmas or something like that, or
Right.
maybe the
Right.
2 weeks before. But I think it took about a week and a half, and then those all sold out.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was right around Christmas time. But yeah, it's so weird that there's that strange time dilation in NFT and crypto space where and I know what it is. It's just that it's all competitive speculation. Everyone's just looking for, the next 10x, the next 10x. Let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. No time,
Right.
no time
Yeah.
like the present.
The crypto people took their mad gains and brought it over to NFTs, and then they saw ETH gains, and they're expecting it with Cardano, and it's just not the same.
Yeah.
Well, there's going to be some of that. I think as more, as more liquidity and more new blood comes in, but it's just a dangerous game to play because the people, the pump and dump groups and the little NFT project groups, they just move around. They do the same thing. It's the exact same model over and over and over again, and they just pump this up, they pump this up, they pump this up, and it just leaves. You don't want to wind up being a bag holder for a project that is like they're just gonna be gone in a few months.
Yeah,
I
that's
don't
true.
know. It sucks. It's a sucky thing because there's also, at least in a coin, there's some liquidity, you know.
Yeah.
But in NFTs, man, good luck. Good luck selling those things off.
I mean, even
It's tough.
Kopi. I mean, I bought some Kopi probably about 3 months ago for like 55 cents, and now it's down to like
Mhm.
20 cents. Like, I'm down 50% of my money in less than 3 months. It's like, dang.
Is that cornucopias?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
But I
Is
mean,
that is that their token? Is it their token?
yeah, yeah. So at the
Okay.
moment, it's on Binance Smart Chain. So you have to use MetaMask to own it, and then you can go on to like tokensfarm or something.com or something, and you can stake your Kopi coins there, which is what I've been doing. And the reason why I got in so early is so I could get like high APR with the Kopi, and I believe Kopi is going to go crazy, but I just kind of picked the wrong time to buy.
Yeah, and I think God, this is another thing though. Like the people who are buying NFTs and like especially gaming NFTs and stuff right now, like relax. You guys just got to relax a little bit because we're so far ahead of the curve. We're so far ahead of the curve. Most gamers don't even. First of all, they don't understand NFTs. most gamers don't want them. There's like a very negative sentiment about NFTs, and that's how early we are. Because they don't
Yeah.
understand. They don't understand like there's a population that do understand, and I think they're mostly here, and they're coming, you know. But there's the vast majority of them don't understand. They won't understand until they're shown how it all works. You can't explain a lot of this stuff. You have to be like, hey, hey, go play this game, and then they get it, and maybe they earn a bauble, and they make $5-10 on it, and they go, oh, okay. That's what'll change. That's what's going to change people's minds. But until that stuff is happening regularly in a very user friendly way, I think we're probably another couple, 2-3 years out from that. Who even knows? I don't know.
Yeah.
There's going to be some of the bigger studios are figuring it out, though. I know they're all working on it right now. I'm sure you'll see, you'll see it. Some of that stuff's going to drop like a hammer, right? Like Blizzard, EA, all those big powerhouses, when they figure out how to do it in a legal and fast way. That's another thing. I think a lot of them are still struggling with the tech. They should look at Cardano. But, you're gonna see some big sentiment shifts there.
Yeah. That's definitely true. Cornucopias is a long way. I mean, they are going to have their first iteration of their game on mobile, I believe, in the next month or two. So that'll be pretty cool. But yeah, I mean, it's not going to be like fully developed or nothing. It'll just be like beta or whatever version they have out. Yeah. But
are they doing a racing game, or are they doing what are they doing with it?
Well, they do have the bubble jets, but the bubble jets I don't think they're going to be able to be used yet, because those are for, what I understand, is flying and getting to like the next bubble so that you can visit people. That's what I took from it. Maybe there's other stuff. Maybe there is like racing with those, but the javelins, the demo that they showed was a race. So the javelins look like, at the very least, they'll have like maybe a mobile racing game for the javelins. I'm not sure exactly what they're going to release, but we'll have to see.
That's cool. Yeah, I think little mini games like that are very smart for smaller projects. Like we've got a little arena like project that I almost call it like a side project, because I've basically got two guys working on it pretty regularly. But that's going to be an interesting, little mini games like that are a good way to just show kind of how it can all work. Because and just from a development standpoint too, like the card game, going after the card game first. Looking back, I should have been like, well, let's pump the brakes a little bit, because card games are like fucking hard. Like, they're very difficult to make. But I'm glad we did, because it taught us a bunch of other stuff, and it led to a bunch of other stuff, and I think it's going to be fun. So yeah, mini games.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to the card game. I'm wondering though, because of how slow transaction speeds are, you might. I don't know, the game would probably at the moment have to work like you play a full game, here's like your card is all saved, and then at the end maybe you do your transactions or whatever, because
yes.
Yeah.
Almost nothing needs to be on chain. Very, very little of it. It's going to be like the the handshake maybe, and then the reward at the end. But you don't really want most stuff happening on chain. It's just way, way, way too crazy. And that may change with Hydra. I don't know. There's some speculation that speeds will go crazy. But I think developers probably wise to keep as much off-chain stuff as possible. Because, that's really what the chain's useful for transactions, right? Like trustless trans, kind of the main, technological revolution that's happening there. So all the other stuff, you can just offload that off the chain. Says me anyway. There's probably gonna be some cool projects that prove me wrong.
Yeah, I'm wondering how it's gonna work with, I don't know, maybe setting up like a smart contract for like, I'll bet 10 ADA against your 10 ADA and we'll play a game. I wonder how it'll work for like if I get disconnected or something.
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know. That would probably just be, that would probably be able to.
Yeah.
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 Well, you probably wouldn't want to do a betting thing, because that's another regulatory nightmare, depending on where you're at. Because we've had some people ask about that too, like, oh, let's get like some card games going so we can like play poker and stuff. I'm like, no, like I don't want to do that. because it's just again, it's a whole other. It's like crypto is its own regulatory gray area. You start getting into gambling stuff, and then you start combining those things. I don't know. I think you just paint a big target on your back,
Yeah.
and it's very likely that you're going to be doing something that some regulatory authority is not going to be happy about.
Well, I'm sure releasing your own token, right? That had its own uh,
Yeah,
scares and other things like that, right? Um, was there
yeah.
anything you were particularly worried about?
Yes, for sure. The main thing was being able to discern between a governance token and a utility token. And the difference is basically a governance token um, is governed by different laws, typically securities laws. In the U.S., both are governed by securities laws, um, but in many countries, just a utility token. So let's say you've got your RAD token, and again, I'm not a lawyer. Don't take this as legal advice. Don't go launch something that's going to get the SEC to wreck you. But if you have a utility token and you're launching in different jurisdictions, so long as like whoever gets that token is not actively like voting to determine the future of like the company and stuff like that, um, then typically it can be classified as a utility token, and then is much less strictly governed. So these DAOs, like for instance, these DAOs that are popping up are almost all governance tokens, because if you own a piece of the token, then you have some say in the voting. I think Cardano is almost certainly a governance token, because it's got some. Well, actually, I don't know. I think Catalyst is sort of a separate entity. I don't know. I don't know how that works. You have to ask Charles about that one. But yeah, sort of like delineating between the utility and the governance token is probably the biggest thing, and then the way you sell it also, like you can't be like explicitly selling to jurisdictions where it's not legal. So those are the big things, and I'm sure there's other stuff too, right? Like I mean, the what needs to happen is a whole overhaul, like legal framework for all of this stuff, because right now it's so messy and so choppy and so ad hoc. But it'll happen, and then I'm sure we'll be complaining that it's overly regulated. So.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. And that's the thing. I was like, it's so choppy, and you don't know. You don't want the future, for people to believe in like what you're doing and whatever, and providing certain things for people, and then all of a sudden have a regulation come by and completely tear that down, that structure down that you built. I
Yeah.
mean, you're
Well, and
kind of in a sticky spot.
yeah, well, and with NFTs especially, and with roadmaps especially, that's another thing I think people should be careful with, because with these roadmaps, and you're promising all of this future utility,
But
that gets into really sketchy ground too, where so like public companies are held to this thing called forward-looking statements. That's like its own deal. The stuff that you're allowed to say as a public company, you have to beware of stuff that's considered forward-looking statements, like, in the future we're going to do X amazing thing, and it's going to generate X amazing returns for all of our holders and all that stuff. So you have to be really careful of that. Because I don't. Again, depends what jurisdiction, depends what regulatory agencies are involved. It's hard to say, but basically, I'm just trying to play it super duper duper safe, and hopefully we don't step in too many potholes. So.
so is there like a funny story or something like you've come away with since being in crypto? You've been in crypto for what, almost a decade now, right? Is that correct?
I suppose, yeah, pretty close, I guess. I was still like,
Yeah.
let's see, I was in college back in like 2011, and in 2011 I was still like, I don't know, I think it might still be a scam. I wasn't like totally sold on it,
Yeah.
because I'm stupid. But I did, I think I think I got a little bit of Bitcoin back then, and then I was like, oh, Dogecoin, super cool. And this is why I tell everybody this is a funny story actually, and it's kind of instructive too about how early we are. So I got into Dogecoin crazy early. I was like in their IRC chat getting tips and stuff, right? Way back in the day. And I just thought my thesis behind it was like, I think the internet's going to think this is funny. I think it's going to be like a lower risk entry into crypto, whereas people associate Bitcoin with the Silk Road and drugs and all this stuff. I was like, I think Doge will be just an easier sell. So I was like, I'm going to grab a whole bunch. I just got a whole bunch of Doge, and then like life happens and just going through stuff, and then over time, I still had a big bag of Doge, literally up until maybe 2 weeks before like TikTok got a hold of it. And I sold almost all of it. I sold almost all of it.
Oh.
And I was like, son of a bitch.
Oh
Son of a
no.
bitch. Now the internet has picked it up. And it was just because I was too early. And you just have to have patience. And I did not have enough patience for it. I was like, I guess I'm wrong. And the reality is that we're all just probably way earlier than we think. That's what I think about it. Anyway, those are the lessons that I've taken from that. Like Cardano, especially, man. I think the thesis behind Cardano, I think proof of stake is amazing. I think the energy usage is amazing. I think the architecture is great. I think it's very secure. I'm glad they're building in a Turing complete language. All that stuff. Give that some time, and I think it'll prove itself out. And I think it already is, but it could take longer than we all want it to. So
Yeah. That's actually why I try to stick to, if I'm going to buy a project, I try to buy at least 3. That way I can sell 1, try to get my money back, hold the other 2, or if it's just not doing too well, maybe sell 2 and just hold 1, because we have no idea. Like Mutant Crocs, before their marketplace came out, before they released any of the royalties and how you were going to get paid, they were going for like 20 ADA. People were selling them like instantly. And then, you wait like 3 to 5 months later and they're literally at like a 500 floor price. All of them.
yeah, that's what happens.
Yeah. And it's just impossible to predict because, like you said, like these people don't want to promise anything that they can't deliver on because they don't want to be held responsible or be jerks, whatever their motto is. And then they finally do come up with something brilliant, and then it just makes the project go crazy.
Yep. Yeah, it's weird, man. It's a weird place to be in. It's the Wild West. And the best thing you can do is just find teams that you believe in. Find projects that look like there was I forget who said it, but it's a phrase that stuck with me, is look for projects that are like puppies with big paws. Looks like they've got room to grow. They've got ambitious but achievable goals. They've got, good foundations, good leadership, that kind of thing. Then that's sort of where I look at, projects and go, oh, yeah, that's probably gonna be a good one.
That was actually my motto going into this bear market, was like, first off, I'm not going to mint anything or buy anything. I only minted, I think, 1 project in the last month, which is crazy for me. Actually, no, I minted 2. I did get a Space Turian card as well. But I minted a Juke Boy, just one of them, because I just like the art. Even though I told all my people in my Discord that it was going to fall to 40 and you should buy at 40, but whatever, I didn't follow my own advice. But yeah, I bought some future bots from Future Fest, because Cardano Poppy, I don't know if you know about Future Fest, but Cardano Poppy is kind of the founder of that project. He's always in Twitter Spaces. He just talked with DZ and the people from Justin on BitBoy, and he just got a shout out actually yesterday. So like 2 or 3 days ago, I bought 2 of those. I bought 1 Future Fest and 1 Deluxe Future Fest, just because he's always here. He's trying to build like this concert type of venue, like online, where music festivals can be held. And because of like COVID and because of online, music was kind of dying down, and they were trying to find a way to like rejuvenate festivals and that sort of thing. And so yeah, it's just cool to see people that I believe are going to be here for a while and invest in I guess some people also say like invest in the people, don't invest in like just these cool looking images.
Yeah, and I think that's actually a big space that it hasn't been fully tapped yet, like the virtual concert, virtual festival type stuff, virtual events in general. Because I don't, I love 3D stuff, I love VR stuff, but I am skeptical that humans are going to want to keep this thing strapped to their face for ever. So I think time limited events like that. Uh, Going into the 3D space to see your favorite artist or whatever with a bunch of other fans. That sounds pretty good to me, you know. Um, so yeah,
Yeah, we can ask the chat if they have any questions, and we can just continue to shoot the shit while we wait for some questions to pop up.
sure. What we got here?
You have any questions for us?
Oh gosh, probably. I don't know. What are you guys into? What are you guys into lately? That's actually always interesting to me is what people do besides NFTs and besides Cardano, because I've been sort of trying to build like a mental model of like who the average Cardano like holder is and like who the average NFT person is, and I'm not sure yet. I'm not sure. So what do you guys get into outside of this stuff?
I'll let Brandon take the lead on this one.
So I work a 9 to 5 uh, at a credit union where I'm an assistant manager, and then you know, uh, I pretty much come home, get on Discord, chat with people, do that as much as possible. Like I just feel like I live like a regular life, I guess you would say. So I mean,
Mm-hmm.
my wife is shaking her head no, but I think I'm a pretty run of the mill sort of guy. I like watching right now, obviously March Madness and stuff like that. But I don't have necessarily this kind of became my hobby. It used to be making pizzas was like my favorite thing in the
Mm-hmm.
entire world, and I
That's
still can make
interesting though.
pizzas to this
So you
day.
see NFTs as your hobby.
Right? Yeah, I would say so. Or like
Mm-hmm.
community building and other things like that would probably be a hobby. Like I'm no offbeat night or anything like that, but I've been known to be kind of a community sort of guy. You know what I mean? And so I
Mm-hmm.
think yeah, that's pretty much what I do. Like I'm just a normal guy working like a 9 to 5 that comes home and has a hobby of doing like NFTs or artwork and other things like that. And then yeah, just a dad. That's pretty much it.
Cool. Yeah.
Nice. So, I mean, yeah, I kind of do the same thing. I was working a 9 to 5. I graduated. I got, a job in software development, and I was just like, nah, this isn't for me. I just really did not like it. I gave it like an 8 month try, and I was just like, nah, this isn't for me. I didn't really know what I was going to do with my life, but I was just like, well, I'm going to start doing YouTube because I'm already researching these things for hours on end. Anyways, I might as well help some people because I was watching YouTube and I was seeing that they were not talking about all the things that maybe I wanted to talk about. And I thought, well, maybe somebody else is interested in some of the things that I'm thinking about. So I just started doing it, and it kind of just turned into everything that I have now, which is kind of crazy. But I mean, before this, I would go to work, I would come home, and I would just make music. I like to rap. I don't know if you've seen any of my other like earlier YouTube videos, but the outro and the intro are me rapping. So yeah,
Oh really?
I like to rap. That's probably something
We might
I'm
need
gonna.
to chat.
Hell yeah! Do you make beats at all or anything like
I've
that?
got Well, so one thing I've been quietly building in the background is like a full Cardania album. Like we've got 20 some odd tracks. Um, they're really good, and I've been interested. It's very like it's lyricless. It's very like um, some of it's ambient, some of it's more like worky music, some of it's more like it. It's almost like an original soundtrack for the game, right? So the things we can use in different parts of the environment and that kind of thing. But I'm interested in like vocal stuff too because we don't really have any of that yet. So I don't know. Maybe we should figure some out. Oh no, you cut out.
There we go. I think I'm back. Am I
There
back?
we go.
All right, cool.
Yeah, you're
So
back.
so yeah, like I would be down if you have like a sick beat or even just like some music maybe that's not even the easiest to rap to. I mean, I love a challenge, you know. I consider myself a lyricist, self-proclaimed rapper, and you know I would love to, you know. And I'm cool with you coming back to me too. Like, nah, this line you sound horrible. Like, go back, redo it. Like, I'm
This
cool
is
with that.
whack.
Yeah, this is whack, bro. Like, what are you talking about? Like, I'm
Constructive
down, man.
criticism.
Yeah, dude, it sounds fun.
It's so funny.
Yeah.
Cool, man. Well,
No,
we'll
that's
chat.
yeah,
We'll
that
chat
sounds
after
cool.
this.
Hell yeah.
I'm supposed
But
to.
like your
I'm supposed to do
style.
some. What was that?
No, go ahead.
Oh, I'm supposed to do some like Mongolian throat singing for one of the tracks coming up here. I haven't gotten around to it yet.
Oh snap.
That's pretty
Yeah.
crazy. Yeah.
So we do have a question here from Harvey. He says, "What's the best way to get your project out if you started in the bear market? Giveaways, paid promotions, or just kind of grind?"
That's a great question. So I can only tell you the way that I did it. I can't tell you how you should do it. Um, and I guess so. I didn't start in a bear market. I think I started in a pretty bullish market. But I found we get the most value out of giving value away, right? So the way to build, I think the way to build a community is like to be giving out value whenever you can. That's part of why we do marbles every week, is because I know that we can, and I like to be able to give that out to people that are just hanging out with us. And I like to give out, some of our tokens, like, you can't buy. I like that. I like that you have to engage in some way in order to get that. And then maybe that, that grows in value as your community grows in value. So I would say always be trying to give back in different ways, whatever way that makes sense for you. It doesn't have to be that you're giving, cancer charity money. It doesn't have to be that you're like doing this very specific model of it. Just do whatever works for you guys to get that out there, and then do that consistently. And people, I think, will figure that out, and will be drawn to that. Um, and then I would also be comfortable just delegating your your authority. Don't worry about having like so much control over stuff. Like I've told people from pretty early on, like the Discord is kind of its own thing for Cardania. I have like very little control over what happens there. Like I'm gonna have control over it if I want to, if I need to step in or whatever. But the stuff that's going on there is mostly community driven. It's mostly that we've empowered about a dozen mods to basically just like, look, however you guys want to build the community. If you need to ban people, I trust you, ban them. If they're being toxic, ban them. If they're being aggressive, bye. And I just trust their judgment on it. Um, and then have that doesn't mean that they're gone forever. Maybe that they can appeal to you personally and stuff like that. But you got to have homies. You can't do it all yourself. So that would be have homies, give value away, delegate your authority. All those things will probably lead to some growth.
I appreciate that. I'll ask one more question just because they responded shortly after Harvey. They said, "Do you have in mind an instance or raid system like WoW has at some point, like 30 to 40-minute dungeons that you do with your friends, that kind of thing?"
Man, that would be so cool. An MMO is really, really, really hard. That's like a difficult build on the game side. But yes, I would love to do that. The arena game that we've got in mind, I'm aiming it to be more PVE, and maybe it's something, maybe more like, you get like 20, 30 people together in an instance, and you're taking down like a big boss that comes out of the summoning pool or something like that. So you might see something similar that will kind of scratch that itch. I don't really want to start promising 40-man raids and stuff until we've got an MMO, but I would love to build something like that. But yeah, I'm mostly interested in building organically, like on the chain, right? Like the land game, I think is interesting because it's going to be, it's already tied to how the stake pool works. It's already tied to the epics. So that's starting to look like almost like a slow strategy game or something like that. So I'm interested in that kind of thing. I'm not necessarily interested in building stuff that already exists, though I am interested in sort of integrating our model with it. I hope that helped. I feel like I give you guys some non-answers sometimes, but that's what it is.
No, it's all good. I understand you can't, promise what you're not sure of and stuff like that, and that's very far in the future. So
Yeah, yeah, and those are all experiences that I love. I mean, I used to WoW way back in the day when I was way younger. I did EverQuest. Um, so, I understand how fun those are, and I think a big part of the appeal of that stuff is how you build community together, and you're all taking down this sort of common enemy and stuff. So, I hope to be able to provide similar experiences to that.
cool. See, I don't think we have any other questions, do we? They said close enough answer is good enough answer.
Maxime, what's up, buddy? Got a bunch of people in the chat, huh?
Yeah, let's see.
Offbeat's here. Mittens.
So, what do you have planned in the like most near future? Like in the next, let's say, month and a half, what do you expect to release?
Let's see. Well, we should have the Terraform map out pretty soon. That's going to be sort of the next iteration. Well, there's two things happening with Terraforms very soon. The resources are going on chain. The Terraform map is going to come online. Once the resources are on chain, we are going to upgrade the harvest module to include resources. So that'll be like, those are all like big deals there just on the Terraform side. We're still cranking out a bunch of card art, so you're going to see a bunch more auctions in the Discord. And then, oh shoot, I'm forgetting. Oh gosh, we're going to take a snapshot for the prismatic lands. I just need to announce a date for it. Those are staged and ready to go. I just need to do the basically snapshot date, and then we'll drop them. And then,
So can you go into prismatic lands? So you have to hold all of the founders cards. Is that correct? And then
yeah, so there's 7 colors of the founders cards, and if you have all 7, then you are eligible for the prismatic land drop, which will happen in the near future here, pending me just selecting a date on it, basically. And then you'll get it. And there's going to be, I think right now there's on the last check, I want to say there was about like 200 of them, or a little under 200 of them are actually done. So the rest of them, we got to figure out what we're going to do with. I'm gonna leave the snapshot date maybe like a couple weeks in advance, and see if we get a few more of them finished. But there's going to be some number of them that just they're just not finished. So then we got to figure out what we're going to do with those extra lands. Maybe some ways to win them, that kind of thing. I don't know. The community has suggested maybe some sort of community pool, because those lands are producing. What's interesting about those lands is that they produce a unique resource. They produce quantum dark energy, which we're going to basically have as an ultra rare resource. So the community has suggested maybe we do some kind of like a pool that manages some of that resource that gets out. But I don't know yet. We got to kind of figure it out. That's kind of the fun thing about the way we're building is, I don't have to think of all these things myself. So.
That's awesome. You got anything to add on to that, Brandon?
well, so with terraforms, with that happening right now, like that's something you can actually participate in right now, right? So you would stake with summon and pool, right? Which I currently am. Okay. And then the goal is to have at least 4. Am I correct right now to get any sort of legitimate rad token
I
pull,
think 4.
right?
Yeah. About 4 seems to be the break even point, or I think 3 maybe the break even point. 4 is like the profit point. And that may change. We might bring it down a little bit just to get more people in. The cool thing about the way we've designed the formula is that it's changeable, and we're able to maybe add maybe some more whale incentives, or maybe able to crank up the rewards. But right now we launched it as it is, and we're just kind of seeing how it's going. I think the biggest requested feature has been being able to uh, stack multiple epics, and then claim them. Maybe so we might do like a 3 epic or 4 epic stack, before those rewards decay or something along those lines. But we have to remodel the code in order to do that.
Okay.
So that won't not going to happen overnight, but it's on deck for a future release for sure.
Yeah, remodeling code. That definitely is not complicated at all, you know?
Nah, nah.
But yeah. All right, so
Devs,
let's
do something.
pretend. Right, devs, come on, do something. I'm over invested by a
Yeah,
lot. Shout out to Ghost. But so I think so. Let's pretend like I delegated yesterday or something like that. And let's say I have my terraforms ready. I got everything that I need. When could you expect your first rad like token rewards to pop into your wallet, or you go to claim them, or whatever?
sure.
When would you expect that?
So just like staking to any pool, there's the 2 epic sort of lag. So it's going to be if you stake in this epic, then it's basically this epic plus 2 to get
Okay.
the first rewards, and then after that, it's each epic after that you get them. And that's sort of the chain standard for that. You're going to send, I think you send 1.7 ADA now. Like we reduced the transaction fee, and you're going to get most of that back as well. I'm not sure what it was. The fee was reduced somewhat, but I don't remember. I got to check with the dev. But you're going to get most of that back, so it's going to end up costing you like I think under half an ADA, or about half an ADA to claim. So you just want to make sure that that's worth it to you based on the current price of RAD. So I think it's about 0.001. So what is that? About 500, or yeah, I don't know, whatever the math on that is, something like 500 RAD worth. Make it worth it. So, but yeah, and that's pretty much it. You just go to ll.cardania.com to do it. And you can harvest it every epic. There's also an epic timer that we added just today, so you can actually see how far along in the epic that we are. And then once it ticks over, there's about an hour or so in there where I think the system is sort of like updating some stuff. So if you try to harvest it right as the epic ticks over, you might get like an error, and it'll tell you to come back in a little bit. But then you can then you can just do it anytime during that epic. And then, but yeah, that's all you got to do. Stake with summon, have the terraforms in your wallet, and harvest your rad, and that's it.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a really cool system. I'm so glad we got to do it. I really like the sort of integration of like the stake pool functionality with like the hard coded NFT stuff. It kind of makes this sort of like I call it like a 3D economic object. And I think it's really cool. I think we're going to see more stuff like that over time. At least I hope we do. I don't know. There's something about it. Just it's got a little magic.
And now, based on a previous interview you had somewhere else, right? You said that you owned or you ran like a small like farm of your own. Is that correct?
Yeah, yeah. So pre Cardania, I had a licensed hemp farm.
Okay.
That was sort of my main gig for a couple years. It basically paid for itself. It wasn't making like a ton of money. The price of hemp fell pretty precipitously. But yeah, I got into that after it went federally legal, just because I was interested in it. The business is still around, but I'm kind of like passing that off to a buddy, and we'll see how that goes. And
Okay.
yeah, and then I
Nice.
farm, we garden and stuff, make our own. I try to be relatively self sustainable. It's just a personal paranoia feature.
Now, has that played any role in sort of the terraforms at all? Has that given you any sort of I don't know, direct like influence on the economy or anything like that, or uh, how to harvest resources or whatever it may be? No.
Yeah, probably. I don't know if it's like conscious or anything, but yeah, I think when I think of land, I think of like what can we do with it? Can it be productive, and in what ways is it productive? Um, and sort of like I'm interested. Different lands do different things, right? You can't do uh, so like for instance, I own some acreage that, for instance, like I thought I was going to be able to grow a bunch of hemp on, and it turns out it's really cold. It's really cold for a little bit too long there. Um, or like sometimes the soil's a little off and you got to amend the soil, and it's just stuff like that. So when I built the terraforms, I tried to make a nice varied amount of metadata, to just make it so there's a lot of hooks to whether it's getting a lot of different resources in order to make a lot of different types of stuff, or different just varied types of land to just kind of make things interesting. um, yeah, I suspect there's probably a little bit of subconscious real world experience in there. I don't know.
So like some lands you can only harvest like so much of a certain material because it's more barren or something like that.
Yeah, there's gonna be differences. There's just gonna be notable differences between the different lands and stuff. Um, just based on what they produce, and that's the thing. Like each of the lands, even if there's nothing on them, they produce something, right? Like the grasslands will produce some greens. I want to say the rocky ones produce some stone, but they produce more stone than, say, I want to say, like I think the Badlands. I don't remember offhand. I have a giant spreadsheet for all this stuff, so I don't have to remember it. But yeah, just stuff like that, so that there's actually sort of sensical resource production in there that kind of makes it just, I don't know, it just makes sense as we sort of scale and the world gets a little bit more breathing, a little bit more flesh and blood in it. Because I'm very interested in that. I think maybe our development's a little bit different because I've been focused more on like establishing the like foundational economy than I have been on the like um, creative 3D metaverse type stuff. Um, but I think that I don't know how that's going to affect our path versus these other projects, how it affects their path. But I'm sure it will be a little bit different, a little bit interesting. Because I was talking about this in a previous interview too. Like, because the resources are on chain, because the rad tokens are on chain, there's nothing stopping game developers from using all of that on their own to make their own thing, and making that part of sort of the Cardania ecosystem. And I'm super interested to see what happens with that.
Awesome. So I also know, because we're getting towards like the last 30 minutes, I just wanted to know, because you asked us what do we do on our kind of, time off away from, all this Cardano and NFTs. What is something you do? What is something that really makes you happy, keeps you grounded?
It's a great question. I love doing MMA and jujitsu. That's sort of
Oh,
my
shit.
that's my little that's my personal fun time. There's something good about just getting your ass kicked pretty regularly, and just putting yourself through very like willing suffering, that makes everything else very very easy by comparison, I guess.
Keeps you humble.
And it keeps you slim. I was doing a ton of that training. I was in the best shape of my life before I started Cardania. And I started Cardania. I put on 30 pounds between the start and I would say like no, November, December, and then I've been back at it. I've been hitting it hard the last like month and a half because I'm trying to get back to that level, because it's the body and the mind are the same thing. And if you're not healthy in the body, your mind's not going to be healthy either. You're not going to be making good decisions. So that's my that's what I do for fun. And then otherwise I just kind of hang out and play games with my kiddos. Do a lot of like they love Minecraft. They've actually been playing Halo lately, which is a lot of fun
The
watching
new
them.
one?
Yeah, yeah, Halo Infinite. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Um, and then what else? they got that. There's this new one out called Core Keeper. They've been digging on.
I haven't heard of that one.
Yeah, it's sort of a Minecraft Terraria hybrid type thing.
You ever bet them? Like, if you can beat me in this game, I'll let you stay up a little later, anything like that?
I haven't, but maybe I should. I definitely, I'll give them little challenges and stuff sometimes. But yeah.
How old are they? Do you just like whoop them, or are they like really good?
Well, no, it depends on the game. But they're one's turning 6 and one's turning 8. So they're little, but they're at the perfect age for just playing games and goofing around together. It's a lot of fun.
That's awesome.
I try not to whoop them too hard. But it's funny though, because like I don't know, kids are just they naturally take to certain things. Watching them in Minecraft has been very interesting because you can just see how their creativity levels up, and that's the other thing, they're able to do stuff sort of faster than I am sometimes, and I'm like, all right, I'm getting
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm a pretty big fan of Minecraft, but it's funny that I didn't like Minecraft when I was younger. I was like, this game's stupid. It's just all blocky. And then I got older and I was like, why do I love this game so much?
Yeah. Yeah, no, there's and that's one thing that I like about games in general and making this stuff is that, like, you can do some really good stuff with it. Like Minecraft, I think, is a great example because it so obviously helps develop sort of creativity and teamwork and stuff like that. And there's a lot of games out there that they take more than they can give. But with the NFT model is interesting to me because I think we're going to be able to give as much value as we take, and hopefully multiply that back, and in a really interesting kind of meaningful way. So
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I think
What's up, boy?
one of the cool things that Minecraft does, and this is just me, like, so it gives you a toolbox and a tool set, and it allows you. It doesn't necessarily give you rules, right? It allows you to create your own kind of experience with it, and so I think along those same lines, if I think one of the most successful NFTs, right, would be one where they give you these set of tools, right? But then it's up to you to create the experience. And so I think if I'm trying to come up with something myself, kind of in that model, to create like my own style of game. And so I think that's the next thing that I'm going to try to work on as much as possible is trying to create almost like a sandbox for people to play in, so that way.
Similar to Minecraft, you're thinking?
No, 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 no. I don't know. I can't really say too much, but it's like it'll be very interesting. Like we can talk about it after or
Gotcha.
whatever.
You don't want to promise anything.
Yeah.
I get you.
Yeah, so I think providing a linear experience for
When
people.
will it be done?
Yeah, when roadmap. So, I think providing too linear of an experience, doesn't if you take like a Lego set, right? And so you have this Lego set and you have the box in which has all the instructions and you get it done and everything looks great and you built a pod racer, a Star Wars pod racer or whatever it may be, and everything's good. But then it's like, okay, well, I did that. It's over with. Whereas like when I was a kid, we always had like a box of random Legos and it wasn't even from the same set. They weren't even the same size. Like, but you would sit there and you'd play with it. And I'd spend more time doing that than I would playing with the set where I knew exactly what I needed to do, what to put where, and everything like that. And so I think even with my kids, one thing I notice is like, okay, we can give them the most elaborate toys, but they always end up playing with the cardboard box in the room, and they color it, or they do something with it, or it lasts longer than the other toy that they have, just because, like you said, the kids, they use their imagination. We as humans use our imagination, and so if you can provide or facilitate some sort of experience based on that, I think it would garner the best outcome I guess you would say. So now I'm trying to figure out what NFT provides that, and so I think I've got it. It's going to be
Mhm.
pretty interesting to see it and how it builds. But yeah, I'm super interested in it. So yeah, I'm looking
Yeah,
forward to it.
I'll say too, there's some games that I've been playing my entire life, and the graphics have never changed. Like I'm
Right.
still a huge fan of Super Smash Bros. Melee. Came out in 2001 for the GameCube. Every year I probably go to like one competition, maybe every 2 years. I actually compete. I don't, win, but like I just love competing. Like it's an old school game. It's just done perfectly, if you ask me. It's one of my favorite all-time games to play. And
Yeah.
then there's games like RuneScape that came out in like 2002 or 4, and the graphics are horrible. It's just a giant sandbox. And I've been playing that since I was like 10 years old, and I still play it like
Yeah.
randomly whenever I get the itch. And I do get the itch. I love that game, and the graphics aren't anything special. So a lot of the times people will be like, "Hey, I don't like the art of this project," and I'm like, "Dude, why does that even matter? Like, who cares? Like, their game design looks really cool. There's a bunch of content. Like, trust me, you're missing out." But
Yeah.
everybody
Yeah.
goes off of art.
Yeah. Well, you can't please everybody. That's another thing that creators need to sort of like deeply, deeply understand before they embark on the journey is that like you can have really great art, you can have really great devs, you can have a great plan, you can deliver your stuff. You're not going to please everybody. It doesn't matter. There's going to be some percent of people, and it gets weird at scale too because you start dealing with tens of thousands of people, and even if 1% of people aren't happy, which is what that's like a huge success, right? That means 99% of your people are happy. 1% when you're at tens of thousands of people, that mean dozens, I mean hundreds of people are upset with you, and you have to accept that that's a thing. That's just gonna be a thing, and that's okay. But I think a lot of creatives suffer from like every creative person suffers from like some level of like imposter syndrome or just general confidence issues. I think because you're making something. It's kind of like having a baby, like you put it out there into the
Mm,
ecosystem. You hope it's like it you want it to do good in the world and like and be thought well of, and it can be very mentally aggravating when
yeah.
someone doesn't like it or they see some flaws in it. And you're like, well, yeah, okay, fine. Um, but that's just something for creators to figure out. And
Yeah.
it just is what it is. Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry. The funniest thing is we've all had a drop here, so we've all
Oh yeah,
experienced that.
yeah.
Where we've had I seriously I pissed off one particular person so bad during my mint, and everything was good, and there was like nothing I could do. Like I was like, dude, I'm trying here, like you know what I mean, like
Yeah.
I'm trying so hard, like here is a free NFT. Well, no, I need more than that, and it's like I need
Mm.
assurance, and I'm like, holy crap, dude, I don't know what I can do.
Yeah, you can't. You can't. Yeah, you can't please
Yeah,
everybody, and that's another thing. There's going to be some subset of people that are very interested in taking advantage of your generosity and stuff. So
yeah,
you gotta you have to when you go into these things, just go into them with eyes wide open, have confidence in what you're doing, uh, and a backbone. Um, I think that's part of what's made Cardania a great experience is that like we have not the community's grown well. I think because we're willing to just keep people out, like
Fair.
because like some people are just very
yeah,
aggressive in the way like because there's also a way of criticizing things, right? There's a way of like being like, hey, this was great, but here's my thing. Here's my problem with it, or this is how you could make this better. Cool, got it, noted.
hmm
Um, but then there's people who are like, okay, and I need that fixed like now, or
yeah,
like, okay, what are you going to do about that? And they won't stop talking about it for like hours, hours, days, and days. And it's just like, look, man, if they register a complaint and you acknowledge it, and whether you fix it or not, if they keep going, you have to like they're gonna wreck your community if you just let them keep
yeah,
going. Um, and that's not to say that you can't. there has to be room for complaints and there has to be room for criticisms, because that's all of that is teaching you what you can improve in
Right.
your own project. So you have to, there's this duality of like understanding that and getting the value out of that, and frankly thanking the people who are providing that, because it is very valuable.
Yeah.
But then there's the duality of that with ensuring that the general vibe of the community is positive, because nobody wants to hang out in a chat where everybody's all shitty.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
facts.
I remember with Terraforms, it was like, the blockchain was slow, and there was something
Mm.
going on to where it took a while for it to get out or something like that, or
It did,
it
yeah.
would only meant under a certain condition or something. I don't know what it was. I got lucky. I never had a
Mm.
problem, so thank you very much for that.
Mm.
I didn't have a problem, but yeah, it was in the chat. It was like there were people that were like, "You gotta fix this. This is unacceptable," and I was just like, "Dude, just calm down." It's like I realized like we all want to be in here, and like I was just
Hmm.
like, just chill, just relax, man.
Dude, people
Stress
get
It was
relief.
mad
crazy.
Well,
about everything too. Like
yeah.
like I mean, just as like a person like flipping, like I minted Disco Solaris, and when I said Disco Solaris, I was like, oh, like my mint went pretty well. I flipped them real quick. I made a bunch of money. I made like a tweet like Disco Solaris like did fine or whatever, not realizing. Well, I mean, I kind of realized that the public mint wasn't going like great, but in comparison to the other drops previously, I thought it was like not so bad. And I got
Yeah.
backlash for being positive, and I was like, okay.
What do
Yeah,
you
you're
mean this is
never you're
crap?
my here's a good one. Here's a good one for you. I had, you know how we gave so we sold 10,000 of the Terraforms, and then I had 10,000 other ones that we airdropped on our founders card
Right,
holders. And I mean, it was a lot. It's a lot of value. It was a lot of ADA value. Um,
right,
and I had a guy, he was so mad at me. He was very frustrated in publicly in the Discord, and like, and he was like, "You're destroying the floor value of the terraforms by doing this." And I'm like, look, we just gave away, X amount of value here, because we can, because we just, we're trying to be, we're being good to the community, and like this is like a thank you to everybody basically,
right.
but couldn't please that guy, and
No,
that's just the way it goes. There's always going to be that guy.
yeah,
I think it's, because I thought about this from Benjamin's club, Benjamin's group. Their eggs went all the way up to about 500 floor, and they were 100 or 90, I think was the first mint. It started like that, and then every 1,000 minted from there went up 10 ADA. So I think it finalized at like 180 ADA mint or something like that. And all these eggs went up to 500 floor, and then just last week you could start to hatch them, and they are all the way down right now to 100 ADA where they started. And I think it was because these people had these expectations that these cool eggs were going to come out looking like dragons with fire or something, and they
They're
came
gonna
out like,
right,
they're come out and solve all their problems. Yeah.
yeah. And
right.
it seems like the majority of people had these unrealistic expectations, because like there's no way it would fall, literally more than 50%, like in less than a
Right.
week. So none of the utility changed. It's just that your PFP now doesn't look like an egg. It looks like a playful dinosaur.
Right.
Yeah. Well, that's an interesting thing about this space too, right? There's the value of the like maybe potential of this sort of unknown, whatever the unknown is, right? Like the egg's a perfect representation of that. You don't know what's going to come out of the egg. It could be anything. So it
Right.
could be amazing. It could be just a Bitcoin could hop out of that egg. Who knows? Um,
Yeah.
but in the reality is going to be disappointing if you're setting yourself up with these crazy expectations. Um,
Right.
so that's very interesting in and of itself, and that's just sort of it's just a feature of the landscape that we're on.
And so my question is that, so I appreciate airdrops on one hand, and then I haven't seen um I haven't seen like the value necessarily for an airdrop to happen, I guess, on the market. Is there any sort
Mhm.
of marriage between the two that can happen, or You know what I mean? Because me as a person, like I appreciate airdrops. Like anything you're airdropping to me, I generally hold on to. I find value in it because I value the project, right? So I'm not
Mhm.
necessarily looking for that resale or whatever it is. But I know there are a
Mhm.
lot of people that are. They're just thinking, okay, well, this is something free that I got. This is going to be $1 million in my pocket right now. You know what I
Right.
mean? Um, so I don't know. Like, okay, so let's say with Bored Apes, right? So they dropped the ape coin, right? There was a
Mhm.
guy who had like 100 apes, right? Something crazy, like 93 kennels and like 106 mutant apes, right? This dude got airdropped ape coin and to the tune of like $57 million. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Is there you know what I'm saying? Is there any sort of airdrop that you think would happen on Cardano essentially that would raise the value, or like you have an idea of what sort of airdrop would work that would raise the
Yeah.
value of an entire project instead of just giving something away for free? You know what I mean?
Sure. I think any airdrop that I guess would add utility for sure. Um, but I don't. Yeah, I don't know. It's so hypothetical. It's hard to say. Um, I think. I think any airdrop. Well, you have to think about it too, because there's the value of the project over here, and then there's like the value of your community over here, and they're kind of intertwined. But like if you're taking from like so our airdrop our terraforms have a certain
Right.
whatever that value was. We basically took it from there and we gave it over here. And so that doesn't necessarily raise the value of the project overall. Um, but it's not like that value goes away. It's just being transferred to the community.
Like transferred. I gotcha.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know. That's just kind of how I see it. I don't know.
I mean,
That's like the $1 million question.
I wonder about questions like this all the time because one of the projects I'm the most bullish on, and I own, I think, 10 or 11 of them, is CypherKicks. And CypherKicks is airdropping their hype beast on March 30th. And all you need to do is own one of their original collection, and then you'll be airdropped a PFP, which they're claiming is going to be very high quality. And then they also say that it's going to be based on the rarity. So if you own a rare, you get a rare, that sort of thing. But, I think there it's going to be its own separate thing, and I know for a fact, just because of how airdrops work and the cycles of markets, like when coins come out for, let's say, rats, as soon as the coins are distributed, the rats go down in price, and right before they're distributed they go up in price. So it's just logical that that's going to happen for CypherKicks. And but I wonder though if they could make it like you need to own the CypherKicks and the hype beast to be able to do something, or the hype beasts, can wear your shoes, or you need to like have them paired in a certain way to like make people hold them. Then that'd be like the only way, because people will dump. Like, it's just market cycles.
Well,
It's just
yeah,
how it's going to
and
be.
that's sort of the question then is it the creator's responsibility to help maintain the value, or like maintain the dollar or ADA value of the assets? And I guess maybe you could make the argument that it is, but I think it's probably more accurate that the creator should be responsible for continuing to layer value. But we're probably going to have to get away from this idea that like you know that the creators are responsible for the maintenance of market value, because it's so crazy, right? Like, you're never going to you can't control the market. The market's going to do what the market does. Um, so I don't know. That's kind of how I think about that, because there are these are basically competing forces at work, right? Um, yeah.
It kind of makes trading easy mode, because you just know what to expect. Like, no matter how good the project is, if it
Yeah.
has an airdrop, it's as soon as the airdrop comes, it's going down in price. So your question is it going to be worth holding for the airdrop? And maybe that has more value that makes up for it when this asset inevitably falls. Or,
Yeah.
do you sell beforehand, claiming or thinking that the asset's going to be less valuable than the total asset right now? But
Yeah, well, so this is going to happen to us in a little bit here because we're going to do the prismatic drop on the founders cards, and so I think there's probably going to be we'll announce a snapshot date, the run up to it. I'm sure the prices for founders cards will probably go up because people want to get their prismatic, and then as soon as those are dropped, I'm sure the bottom is going to fall out of the founders cards for a while until other utility is announced, right?
yeah.
Um, so that's
Yeah, but
that's just kind of the way it is.
yeah, but you want to hold a founder's card. Like I've always looked at it as like, this is a founder's card. There's going to be some sort of utility there. Like I've already gotten it, right? I've already gotten my Terraform. I've already reaped benefits from it, right? So if there's more at this point, it was just like cherry on top of the sundae. You know what I
But
mean?
but there's
Before it was
10K
like,
of these, right? Of the founders cards.
Yeah, there's 10,000
yeah,
total founders cards, and then
right.
there's only 250 black, 250 white, and only 250 total of the prismatics.
Okay, so that other people are definitely looking at it as a flip because it is easy mode, right? People are going to hear this, people are going to buy the crap out of them. They're going to wait for the announcement of the prismatics, and then they're going to sell them. Like regardless of like however many other
Yeah.
people's ideas to hold them, because there's definitely flippers all over.
I mean,
Well,
have you
and
have
I
you even
think
looked at a
maybe
black card?
I
Have
have
you even
not.
looked at a black card?
I haven't looked at the black
I'm
cards
sure
or the white
I
cards.
don't
That's
even think
true.
there's a single one on the market, bro.
Yeah,
they
that's
might not.
fair. That's
Yeah,
fair.
they were selling in the thousands. But
Yeah,
that's the other thing is that I think people might be the way that they're looking at it might be wrong because it's not bad. It's not necessarily bad that there is this breathing that's happening in the prices, right? Because that means stuff is happening. That
right.
means people are profiting. It means they're profiting. Like that's great. They should be profiting. And then and then other people are allowed to accumulate, and then they profit. At least ideally, that's how it goes, right?
Right.
Um, so I think that maybe what we're actually seeing there is just loud people who aren't selling at good times.
Yeah, probably. I
Yeah.
mean, you're not going to be hearing the loudmouths unless they're a little arrogant talking about their 30 or 48 a gain or whatever it is.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh.
I mean, you might
Yeah.
hear about the dudes dumping like, I don't know, 400 cards or something. But if those dudes are doing that, they're probably only doing it a few times because they'll get used to doing it. And it's like, what are you bragging about? You've done this 10 times.
Yeah. Well, and then I think it's probably a healthy sign, or it's probably a sign of health for a project that you'll as you do that, as that kind of like those cycles are happening, you're probably getting higher lows, higher highs, that kind of thing, and that would indicate. But the other weird thing, this is sort of tangential but related to what we're talking about, is that each set of assets that a project produces creates its own sort of interest group, right? So we have like our founders card interest group, and we've got our Terraform interest group. We've got people who collect the card art. There's people who want to play the card game. There's people who want to play the land game. There's people like, so it's creating these people who are all interested for different reasons, and you sort of have to, you can't forget about that because otherwise, then those people feel left out, and it's a very weird thing, and that's why I don't know. I've gotten comfortable about like, frank, you can't keep everyone happy, but the idea that all these things can be somewhat interlaced, I think is very appealing to a lot of people. It's appealing to me anyway, and that we can kind of bring these people together under a single sort of umbrella or brand or whatever you want to call it. So I think that's sort of fundamentally kind of what we're attempting to achieve.
Gotcha.
All right. Go on.
Hold on. So I need to know, am I in the right direction? Okay. They I'm trying to get I'm getting copper and I'm getting high power levels. Just tell me I'm on the right track, all right?
I think you're probably spiritually in the right direction.
Yes. I love it.
Yeah.
Devs, can we do something?
Well, that's going to be it's going to fluctuate. It's going to change over time, right? That's a whole other thing. When the resources come out, there's going to be utility we start layering on, and then inevitably I'm probably going to forget a resource or two as we're building, and people are going to be like, "Hey, I can't do anything with all this meat over here. What are we doing?" And I'm like, "Oh, right, we have to we have to fill that in." And it's sort of like coloring it all in as we go.
Open up the
So
station.
yeah, yes, certainly the I would say minerals are probably a good investment. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. Remember also
we'll
that this
see.
is all fake. This is all fake, make believe, magical nonsense on the blockchain that we're building as we go. We're like that like GIF of the octopus on the train. He's like building the track as he's
Yes.
going. Like that's
Yes.
that's what we're doing here, and I don't want anyone to have any illusions otherwise.
Grandiose plans.
I've got plans, but really I'm just trying to focus on what's right in front of us and get us to whatever crazy neon fever dream destination we're going to.
So before it's too late, let's talk. I mean, I don't know how much you can divulge, but I saw the robot last night that was posted on Twitter. It was kind of late, and I was like, hey, can we talk about this tomorrow? And then, people wanted to talk about it, and there was kind of like, I don't know if you can give up any goods. My idea, right, and you can tell me how off I am or whatever. My idea is that is either a helper in the game that you can hire to mine resources for you.
So I'm not gonna divulge like what it's gonna be doing. I can tell you that is that's a custodian. That's one of the custodian bots. So we're currently designing sort of a suite of different characters in the 3D world, and I'll occasionally just sort of leak a little bit of some of them here and there, and so that's one of the custodian bots, which are their own faction. They're sort of like benevolent AI that sort of takes care of the, or they think they're benevolent, that sort of takes care of the, the station and stuff.
That's great.
And yeah.
I'm just trying to see if I can find that robot.
Little cute little guy on wheel there.
Yeah.
It's in your recent tweets, right?
Yeah, should be.
Yeah. Posted probably like, I don't know, 21 hours ago or something, 22 hours ago.
I am looking. Ah, okay. Let's see. I'll bring this guy up. See if I can get the screen switcher to work. We'll go. What is it?
This is a risky
here.
move.
This is a risky move. All right, boom. Can you guys see that? Can you guys see that or no? I think I'm showing the wrong screen.
I think you've multiplied us.
Boom. There we go.
Okay, there it is.
There we go.
See, now look at that.
That thing looks freaking sick. It kind of looks like WALL-E a little bit.
Yeah, it's got. Yeah, I was going for sort of like a cute, like somewhere like WALL-E, Claptrap, those sort of just those.
Claptrap, let's go.
Cute helper bot type thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, so expect to see more of that. We've got some really, really, really good artists on the 3D side, and I'm just I'm super privileged just to get to work with all these people, frankly.
Right.
And I hope I just hope people like what we put out. I hope they have patience while we build, and we'll just keep doing what we're doing.
Yeah.
Awesome. Any closing statements from you guys? Brandon, got anything to say?
No, like honestly, it was great to finally actually like talk to you. I mean, I've seen you, when they first did the CNFT con or whatever. I remember you had a spot on there, and it was kind of nice, seeing you on there. And then actually have you here is awesome. Like you're our first guest.
Oh, yeah, so I appreciate you. Yeah, this is awesome.
Really?
Yeah, you're the very first guy on the Atlanick Ocean podcast.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, hey, glad to be here. Thank you guys for having me. That's actually that's a good closing note. Is people who are interested, we are going to be at CNFT Con in Las Vegas, October 8th and 9th. We got a big old booth, and would love to meet you guys in person. We'll be there. We'll just be having a good time, and hopefully we'll have some cool stuff to show off then. And just keep.
I mean,
just
I'll
keep
be
moving
there.
along.
I'll be there.
You're gonna be there.
I will be there. I'm having a booth as well. For right now, I was like one of the first people to actually contact Adam Dean about getting a booth or whatever. And I mean, I can't wait for it. Nick,
you're actually getting a booth?
Yeah. I've had a booth. I was there within the first hour that it was available.
Because I knew you were debating it. I thought because you were like, well, I kind of want to walk around.
Well, no, I already paid for it. I already paid for it.
Okay.
Everything's already been paid for. Yeah.
Gotcha.
My main thing is like, well, so now transporting all of the things that I want to transport out there. And then I think, you were talking, Chris, you were talking about getting somebody there, like locally or whatever, to help you with it, or?
Yeah, there's a actually, I think it was Marco. Marco sent me a PDF from there's like a trade show booth buildy company thing out there. Where you can just send them some money, and then they have like sort of standardized ones that you can wrap and stuff. So we might end up doing that
stuff, right?
Yeah, that kind of thing.
Yeah,
I think it's called. I want to say it's called T3. I think that's called T3. But ask Marco, or just shoot me a DM. I'll send you what he sent me. Yeah, good stuff.
Nice.
But I do want to say in closing, thank you to the community, the Cardania community. You guys are great, and it is just a pleasure to do what we do. And I hope we get to keep doing it, and I hope you guys keep liking what we're putting out. You will get to enjoy some avatars this year. You will get to enjoy the album this year, and then hopefully you'll have some stuff to play eventually later this year as well. So, yeah. That's pretty much it. I'm an open book. Feel free to DM me on Discord anytime. I don't get to it all immediately. Usually they stack up for a while. But just grateful to be here, and thank you, gentlemen, for having me.
Thanks for coming by, man. Thank you so much. Thank you everybody for coming out for the third podcast, including iKleenup, Atlanick, and Chris from Cardania. So thank you guys.